Well, hello there and good morning. It is Wednesday, April 16th, and you're watching News Channel Nebraska. My name's Eric McKay. Thank you so much for joining us. A Sutherland man has crashed his SUV into a tree, killing a woman in the vehicle, and authorities say an arrest is pending. The Lincoln County Sheriff's Office responded to a call for this crash near the intersection of North Prairie Trace Road and West Snake Road. That's north of Sutherland. First responders said they were unsuccessful in saving the life of 22-year-old Jade Therese of Sutherland. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Authorities say the SUV was speeding south, hitting railroad tracks. The vehicle left the ground, bounced up again, and rolled. The roof of the car hit a large tree, crushing the passenger compartment. The driver, Alexander Gomez, was being treated for a number of serious injuries. Authorities say he tested positive to an alcohol test and will be arrested once he recovers from his injuries. One person is seriously injured after a crash happened outside of a central Nebraska school yesterday. It was a chaotic scene unfolding in front of Kearney Catholic High School after authorities say a driver suffered a medical episode and hit 14 parked cars while driving at a high rate of speed. Police say multiple cars needed to be towed away from the scene. A street sweeper called in to help clean up the area. The driver was transported with what were called serious injuries. No other injuries were reported. The crash happened on East 35th Street between Avenue A and Avenue B. Officials at a college in central Nebraska say a construction project that recently began will greatly improve safety for students and motorists alike. Work recently started on a nearly $3.5 million roundabout project at a high-traffic area in West Kearney. It comes at the intersection of Highway 30 and University Drive, the entrance to the University Village and UNK's West Campus. UNK school officials said yesterday the project will result in a wider center median for pedestrian safety and will still be able to handle semis and oversized loads. There'll be 2 lanes of east-west traffic and single lanes for vehicles turning north or south. Highway 30 traffic will be shifting to a temporary 2-lane road next month. That'll last until August. Nearly 700 kids got a field trip to a central Nebraska hospital this week. Kids were jumping off the bus for the 50th annual Kindergarten Days held by Good Samaritan Hospital. The event gives first-year students in Kearney a chance to explore a place few of them have been to since they were born. It also provides a real-world lesson at a young age about the benefits of a medical facility and can be reassuring to any little ones who may have to make a trip to this place like this, or if they or a family member need to.
I think it's really important for our kids to know what our hospital does and what each procedure would entail. If they ever had to come to the hospital, they would be assured to be taken care of, and it gives them just the x-ray and the rooms so that they're not scared if they were ever in a position to be here.
Not only did kids have fun checking out the ambulance and other rooms, organizers said it might plant a seed for them in what could be a career path. This hospital saying it gives them a great chance to broaden their horizons while they're still young and impressionable.
Meet others that are in helping professions, feel less anxious about being in a hospital, and just being part of the community. You know, get them out of the classroom, seeing things in the real world, and let them know that we're here to help and they can be here to help in the future.
A former school psychologist is accused of sexually assaulting a child. The 4 felony charges were filed against 44-year-old Jeffrey Fauble last month. Fauble was a school psychologist at Papillion La Vista schools, but authorities say they believe the assaults happened outside of his work. The PLV board voted unanimously to fire Fauble this week. He's set for his next court appearance later this month. A bill that would change how elective abortions are handled after the fact advanced yesterday. State senators voted 34-11 to advance Senator Ben Hanson's LB 632. It's a bill that would require abortion remains to be buried or cremated. Now, that requirement already exists for spontaneous abortions, miscarriages, or stillbirths. But this measure would expand the requirement to elective abortions. Opponents tried to filibuster the bill, Omaha Senator Ashley Spivey pointing out the added financial burden this would place on abortion providers. Others raised concerns about what they worry is vague language in the bill. The bill could face a legal challenge. Similar measures in Indiana and Ohio have been blocked by appeals courts. A new study shows chemicals meant to make children safer could be harming them. A University of Toronto researcher found children's mattresses contain toxic chemicals that release into the air. Some of those chemicals are flame retardants. Others are phthalates used in manufacturing process and ultraviolet light filters. The study says the amount of chemicals contained in the mattresses is measured as unreliable. It's because as a child sleeps, their weight and body heat causes those chemicals in them to release, and the child breathes them in. The tested mattresses were purchased in Canada. The same problem, though, expected throughout North America. Health problems linked to these chemicals include early puberty, asthma, heart problems, and cancer. Republicans faced frustrated constituents at town hall meetings yesterday. Members of Congress are home for a 2-week recess, and in the opening days of the break from Washington, many Republicans have so far heeded the advice of party leadership, declining to hold in-person meetings. But yesterday, Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley and Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene held public events. Reed Binion has more.
Tempers flared as Washington lawmakers faced constituents at town halls on Tuesday. Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene was interrupted several times by protesters at her town hall in Georgia, with police forcibly removing people from the event, arresting 3 individuals and using stun guns in 2 instances. Greene dismissed the interruptions and moved on.
Thank you to our great police officers.
She displayed some critical constituent questions about the Trump administration on a projector, reading them out loud, and responding in at least one case by pushing back.
Unfortunately, you're being brainwashed by the news that you're watching. A lot of Democrats pride themselves on being educated, and I suggest they educate themselves better.
In Iowa, Republican Senator Chuck Grassley took a different tack, mostly listening to concerns about the Trump administration.
I'm trying to recapture the constitutional authority of Article 1, Section 8, one of the 18 powers of Congress.
Democrats also faced pressure from constituents Tuesday, listening to criticism that they're not fighting hard enough to combat Trump and Republicans.
I hear the criticism that we're not doing enough. I'm never going to lie to somebody as a politician. I can't do things in the minority that I think people wish I could do. So I'm doing what I can do.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
A federal judge has issued a setback to President Donald Trump's immigration policy. A U.S. district judge this week ruled the administration cannot end existing deportation protections for certain Cuban, Haitian, Nicaraguan, and Venezuelan migrants. Those migrants are in the U.S. legally under a humanitarian relief program known as CHNV parole. The judge said the administration's effort to suddenly end that program violates the Administrative Procedure Act. As a result, existing protections and benefits for hundreds of thousands of migrants will remain in place. The program was scheduled to wind down after 2 years. Well, tax day was yesterday. Next year, tax returns could be less timely. The IRS shrinking again. Roughly 22,000 employees have accepted the Trump administration's deferred resignations. The deadline was yesterday to accept the buyout, resulting in a 25% reduction in workforce. This was the second time the offer was made to IRS employees. About 4,700 workers left during the first round, which was completed last month. Former officials with the IRS said major cuts to the agency could lead problems to including collecting less federal government revenue. Closed doors and a lot of unanswered questions at a center in northeast Nebraska. News Channel Nebraska has the story behind the shutdown with insight from city officials in Laurel and concerned residents. Hanky Hazelton has more.
Due to ongoing financial issues and a decline of residents impacting staff, Hillcrest Care Center was left with no other choice but to find other accommodations for a number of reasons.
Medicare, Medicaid reimbursements weren't keeping up with what the costs were on a daily basis. So yeah, it just got to where financial uncertainties got a little out of control and forced the closure.
Hillcrest is licensed to house 36 residents, but in January it only housed 20. With the number continuing to decline, the city council decided to permanently close the center in March.
When you've got 20 residents in a 36-bed facility, it's hard to keep that nursing staff on hand to support that low number of residents.
Some in the community are frustrated and think the council mismanaged the way it should have been handled.
Not until January were we really aware of the trouble that the facility was in and the financial debt that it had incurred. And I think the community would have got behind it and potentially been able to salvage our care center.
Concerned Laurel resident Elisa Barker claims to save the center, she and a committee had collected pledges donating $280,000. Barker claims if they were notified much earlier, she believes she could have helped save Hillcrest from shutting down.
We had a plan. One of the former staff had been in contact with DHHS. He was willing to work with us if we had a purchase agreement and a notice of sale and our budget and our operating plan, and they just refused.
I don't know that I'd consider it mismanagement. We sat down with the auditor, tried to figure out where we could cut costs in any way possible. A couple of the council members sat down with every department head and the administrator, tried to figure out where cost savings could come in.
Barker said, taking care of the elderly is a very important part of our community, especially in an aging population like Laurel. But if we want change, residents need to be more active.
They need to participate and know what their city officials are doing. And that's what I believe failed here to a degree. People just were too complacent, but then again, it was kept pretty quiet.
Reporting in Laurel, Hanky Hazelton, News Channel, Nebraska.
The role of a high school activities director, one of great importance in Nebraska, for making sure games get on a schedule to working on countless projects throughout the year. It requires dedication. One Southeast Nebraska AD has made an impact on the school and community and is now deciding to step away. Jake Bartecki has more.
4 years of building memories and relationships and providing teachers and students alike with opportunities at one of the premier activities schools in Southeast Nebraska. Beatrice Activities Director Gus Brown has made a major impact on the community, but his time has come for him to step away as he plans to retire at the end of this school year. Looking back at his time in Southeast Nebraska, Gus Brown says one goal has remained the same throughout: growth.
You know, it's just continued to grow. You know, Beatrice is a great place, have a strong tradition. Just trying to keep that tradition going and moving in the right direction and give kids and coaches the best opportunity we can.
During Brown's time with the school, Beatrice has found success in athletics, but going back to his main goal going into the job, Brown is proud of the growth shown by girls wrestling. Not only was Morgan Moshman a state champion this season, but the program has tripled in size since its inception and now holds a well-known tournament.
We've become one of the best tournaments in the state. You know, when we started, we had 4 or 5 teams, and now we're up to about 26 as we keep adding to that event.
During Brown's 4 years, he's gotten a lot done. Beatrice is now on a uniform rotation contract with Nike. The Trailblazer Conference has grown, and a project for new turf on the football field is set to begin at the end of the month. But one project has remained the top priority for Brown: building relationships.
That's the most important thing to me. It always has been through my educational career. And, you know, just giving the kids opportunities and building relationships. It's always nice, you know, if you don't make an event, the kids are like, hey, we didn't see it at this event. You know, well, I had 2 or 3 that day, so I can't make them the ball. So just those relationships with the kids and the community have been fantastic.
In Brown's final year, Beatrice picked up a 4th state championship in softball. Brown called it something he and the Lady Orange will remember forever.
I'm a sentimental guy. I tear up a lot, and after the girls won, I was in tears, tearing me up now. So, but just watching those kids as they've grown, and they've had good teams the past couple of years, and this team just gelled together at the right time, and the coaching staff did an amazing job of getting the kids in the right position and giving them opportunities to win.
Brown will hand the reins off to Cale Kaiser, a Spanish teacher at Beatrice High School, to take over as the school's AD next school year. He says Cale Kaiser's jumped in with both feet and has a willingness to learn and grow as he begins the new chapter. In Beatrice, Jake Bartecki, News Channel Nebraska.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. This is News Channel Nebraska.